Today, thank you all for coming out. This is a workshop, which means this is a workshop between the staff and commission. You are visitors and you're welcome to, can't say participate, but at least have a say what we see and what we're doing. My pastor today is, we have a brand new Catholic church in Actors Parish. It's Hello, Pastor. Father, how you doing? Okay, this is Father Greg. Greg, if you want to speak up, I don't have a microphone, but if you want to just introduce yourself before you introduce your prayer.
First Congregational United Church of Christ has been so gracious in letting us bring up the faith and places to worship, being able to find ways that we can serve each other where they can.
What time do you meet with?
We meet every Saturday at 4 p.m. at First Congregational United Church of Christ on the corner of Euclid and Main.
All right, thank you, Pastor. You can begin your prayer. Would you please hold hand and look? And I'm sorry, I don't have my loudspeaker, so you have to speak as loud as you can.
No problem. Let us pray. Lord, we come before you with our minds fixed on progress. We ask for your wisdom, your understanding, and your direction. We pray that all who are entrusted with authority may remember those in need. As you are the one who satisfies the needs of us all, we pray that this meeting may be fruitful and help us all to work towards lives that are pleasing to you. We ask you for strength that we may bear the burdens you give us. Open our eyes to the solutions that work for us all. May your peace reign in our hearts and minds throughout this week. May every word spoken reflect a spirit of service. Lastly, Lord, we thank you for the time we will share this morning, as all time belongs to you. We ask these things in your mighty, holy name. Amen.
Amen. In reference to our to the quote that was passed, I thought it would not be online to have a Catholic priest to give us this opening. And Father, we thank you for that. And we will disconnect you right now.
No problem. I'll have a fruitful meeting.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance. Okay. Let's just read our welcome. Welcome to the City of Lake Helen City Commission meeting. This is a regularly scheduled commission meeting, which is regularly scheduled. This is a posted call meeting. Anyone desiring to address the commission must fill out and provide the deputy clerk with a yellow request to speak form located at the door. After being recognized by the mayor, persons are asked to come forward, speak from the podium, state their name and address, and direct all remarks to the commission as a body, and not individual members of the commission, or staff, or even each other in the audience. Citizen comments during the public comments in each section of the agenda where public comments are allowed are asked to limit the discussion to 3 minutes. Large groups are asked to name a spokesman and period of time for comments, and not the period of time is for comments and not questions. City Commission will be referred, anything referred to the staff should be answered by staff within a reasonable
That means collaborative work. That means all of us together are in this. And whatever issues we've had leading up to this are all of ours. They're all of our problem. But addressing it tonight means that I'm no longer taking responsibility for it moving forward. I don't want to be part of that. I support each person sitting at this table that works for our city. Roxanne, Ricky, obviously police in the office, our police chief, and then of course our attorney, our administrator. All of you, fantastic job, fantastic team. I support you. Each of you plays a significant role in our day-to-day operations, and I can't imagine what that picture would look like, and I think the reason we're here tonight is because of concerns that the city administrator brought up last time and made comments of leaving. And so my hope is that whatever has caused that we together will find a way to resolve that. And then whatever you all have for us, please bring it forward. If you have suggestions, I'm here to try to be that bridge, and hopefully this meeting is an olive branch that we can all come together. Every decision we make reflects our city, and our actions should align with the goals of the body, with the entire body, the whole commission, with the staff, and with how we're trying to propel ourselves forward into the future. We are only one of 5, but we operate together, and our only power is here tonight, in a workshop, in a meeting, in public. I had asked that we do so positively, but each thing that we bring tonight, how does that reflect for us? In mind above all else. I don't think it's time to continue to dredge up past grievances. If there are some things that we need to address, I'd like to address them, but moving forward after tonight, I would like to speak pleasely. And above all else, I want to retain the tremendous talent we have on our staff, and that includes all of you and these folks here. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over. I may have some more to say later off of what I've been thinking on, but
This is no discussion, this is a workshop, so it's, as you feel it, you want to speak up? Russ?
I happen to have been here when that's the way it is. But the way I look at it though, is as long as Mr. Gleason, Jim is satisfied with his staff and everything, I don't bother. That's their job to do. And it's the way I've been raised and done and taught, and it's the way I'll continue being. But thank you, Debbie, for taking care of our customers that way.
I'm gonna reserve my time for later.
Later? Deputy Lee?
I want to say something. As far as everything that Commissioner Rutledge said, I totally agree. After tonight, we need to just move forward with a clean slate. That being said, I have to say that after witnessing the arrogant, aggressive, petty, and downright bizarre attack on staff, fellow commission, and the city itself on display Monday evening, it is clear to me that some here do not want a path forward. So, I still, it's like, I tell everybody, they're like, how was it? I'm like, you can't explain it. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. That being said, that's just a statement that I wanted to make. Like I said, I don't have a problem working with anybody. Am I an asshole sometimes? Yes, I am. Because I speak my mind, how I feel. It doesn't mean that I don't like you, or I don't want to be around you. I mean, Jim knows, we can talk and everything's fine. We have to, talk it out, and that's it. So, anyways, that's all I want to say for now.
I read it, so it's a little bit confusing. And I did share it with, my peers, and they know what I'm reading. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out here today and being part of this workshop and helping us work through these issues. I drafted a few notes in regard to our topics of the workshop, but before I get into those, I just wanted to provide some thoughts on our current leader, the city administrator, Jim Gleason. In public service, integrity, vision, and courage aren't always the easiest paths to take. But RCA, Jim Gleason, has never taken shortcuts or the easy way out. He leads with principle, even when that means standing alone. It takes a rare kind of conviction to lead not just with authority, but with conscience. And an even rarer kind of strength to stay the course when the support that should be there isn't. But what really defines Jim's leadership is not just how he handles pressure from above, but how he treats every single person under his direction. Regardless of job title, background, or role, he leads with deep respect for the people who make this work possible. He listens, he acknowledges, he never forgets that dignity in the workplace starts with recognizing the worth of every individual. That respect is not performative, it's real. And it creates an environment where people feel seen, heard, and valued, no matter where they sit in hierarchy. That's leadership, that's culture, and that is something many talk about, but very few actually deliver. I know this because this is not my first position or job, but I can say with true honesty that Jim Gleason is my most respected leader. So now we move on to the reason for the meeting. In my almost 25 years of organizational leadership experience, I found that there is one main priority that lies at the heart of every successful organization, and that's the power of working together, and Heather touched on this. Collaboration isn't
We're having trouble hearing you guys.
Okay, thank you. Speak a little bit louder. She says she's not ready to speak right now.
Now, this reserving my time right now, I want to hear collectively what's being said, trying to figure out which path we're going down, and I'm presuming we'll get there.
Mayor, can I say something real quick?
Could you hold on to that so I can clear the table? I'm gonna come back to you, Joe, I appreciate you. But I want to at least get as much as the table, we're here sitting at this table. You are actually, as, you're witnessing this is our workshop. We're trying to work something out. And he's an employee, but I'm not putting him down, I just want the people, come get a seat at the table. Take a seat at the table. You know, it's a shortcut over there. Okay, now we're at the table. Go right ahead, go
I
ahead.
just want to say, I've been around the city a long time, while y'all have, I work with a lot of different people. And to me, when we come to work as a family, we work together as a family. I see most of these people as much as I do on the family. Some of my family I see less. But I think positivity is something employee here, coming to work, the people you work with changes your attitude about wanting to come to work with you. Changes your pride of what you do. I can tell you that in my whole life, I've worked for a lot of people. My chief has no middle policy. It's a true middle policy. We walk in, we speak to them, and listen to us. Jim came here, we've got 20 other city administrators sitting down. You come in with a problem, Jim will listen. Jim will give the answer. If you question an answer, not as the question is, or you could question him as in, why does it work that way? Jim will take the time to explain to you or listen to your side of the story, and sometimes come to an agreement and listen to actually put two sides together and make it right. Not a lot of people do that. Roxanne, her door's always been open to employees. We walk in, we deal with for HR reasons, any other reasons that deal with the city. Bunch of stuff that was not taken care of years ago that we've had to straighten out. Aaron does it, works with us anytime we walk in there and ask her to deal with the tickets or any kind of billing or stuff that we're working with crashes. Ricky, we can call Ricky. Ricky works with us as a team. You know, whatever we need, we go to Ricky and ask for it, send him an email, whatever it is, and he'll work his best to help us out. Debbie, it's the same way. We don't mind butt heads at times, but we're like kids. We're going to butt heads at a certain time, but at the end of the day, we all work as a team, and we do really, all I'd say is, this is the best team that I've seen in a long time together, that works together. And it's nice to see that.
So where's the breakdown? What can we do better?
Get that. Yes.
You got anything, you got anything for us? Or anything you want us to hear?
I do, but I don't want it to come off combative. I'm very leery of what I say here tonight, because of that. One thing I will say, and it is the last meeting, and it really sticks with me. And so, again, what's going to tell you? We have a stormwater problem, right? We all know we do. When you guys said it was unacceptable about having things ready and all that, it kind of looks like the staff is not doing their job when people look at it. Instead of going, staff, we are working on building, we meet with FEMA more than I want to on a regular basis with Jim and Roxanne all the time. We're in meetings trying to get mitigation money. There's certain things we can and can't do, like we can't go out and pull the millions off certain roads or steel plates up. Anything we do to cost us mitigation money that's there. We know what needs to happen. I'm a citizen here too, we know. But you guys, when you say unacceptable, it looks like that. Instead of telling people, even if we have 5 projects ready or 1 project ready, you don't have the money as the city to do it. Say that to them. I would rather hear that than unacceptable, because it is unacceptable. But it's not because we're not trying, it's because of the circumstances. And that really hits home with me, because, we are doing our best, and then some people tell us, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We do. We look at every avenue, that we can, but if we can't do it legally And bringing on the new, engineering firm, I have never in my almost 30 years working here, have had a firm that came in and said, we're gonna help you with your problems, and we're gonna help you get funded on what we can. I consider them a partner. They don't say, here, do you have enough to cover us to do this engineering? Okay, well, call us when you get the money. We'll re-engineer it again, it might be 2 years. These people, I've seen more out of them, and they speak English. They speak everybody's language, and they're really trying, and they understand it. I mean, they come out, we are trying. This staff is the best staff I've worked with in many, many years, as far as all collective. Jim has been Jim has taught me so much. I'm here today working on my budget, hours and hours on end, because he cares and I'm part of the budget process. I'm not just handed, here's your budget, live with it. This year, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to come back and see this, Our town's great. We have great things going on. Pretty soon, next week, we're gonna bring the tower contract, get the tower redone and all that. We have our antennas on there, it's gonna be painted, it's our namesake, we're gonna put lights on. We all have pride in our town. I've lived here all my life. And I love my town and all that. And sometimes when you say that kind of stuff, it kind of hurts a little bit because people need to know the truth. We just don't have the money to do everything what we're working on. And we understand. I wish I could pump Lake Helen Lake tomorrow. I wish I could do all that. I wish I could replace every water line. I can't, but it's not that we're not working on it every day. We work on a multitude of things every single level, every single day. And with open door. When you go to the bills or things like that, if you have a problem with a bill, please call us and ask us. Hey, I see we got a bill here. Can you tell me what in the world that's for? Ann Robbins used to do that all the time. She called me Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Hey, Rick, I got a bill here. You tell me what it's for. It's just that little bit that helps with us, It just gets so, feels combative when it comes that way. We're here to serve you and Lake Helen and all the people here. That's all we're here to do. I came back. I love my town. I love everything. I love coming to work every day and doing what I do. I absolutely love it. I told my wife I'll never work anywhere else again. If I don't work here, I'm never working again. It's just that we have so much we can do. We're moving so far ahead right now. I see it. I see it happening right now. You guys are, you're getting it together. You're understanding it. You stormwater, the can's been kicked down the road. There's no road left. We're going to have to face reality. And it may be a hard reality, but you're facing it. And that's what I commend you guys on. You're at least making the hard decision for City Hall. You've made a decision now. Now we're moving forward. It's great. Now you're going to open up a can of worms, you know that. But you know what? At least you started it. And that's wonderful. I think we're open to you guys. Anytime you need something, you can always call us. You can't direct us, but you can call us. Say, hey, we got something going on. Can you tell me about it? Hey, the tower is getting renovated. Tell me what's going on. If you really need to know something, we will help you as much as we can. We do that for every citizen too. I went out today. This is Jerry. She's worried about water. I went out there, did everything. Hell, I already set a work stopper for because it was off time. We help the citizens because they're citizens, but they're also our friends and family. And they are taxpayers. They are here. They do pay water bills. We go out and help them on we go above and beyond to make sure if they have a water leak or something, we will go above and beyond to make sure to help them. And that's really what it is. Just tell the people. I pay taxes too. I pay stormwater. I pay the same taxes everybody pays here. And I know it, and I work here, so I know the hardships of not having the money to doing that. It's hard when you tell somebody, I'm sorry, we just don't have the money right now, but we're working on it. And that's a good feeling to tell them. So I hope I didn't offend anybody. I just don't know how to tell you what I mean. We're just here. But when you guys fight, it's detrimental to all of us. And we don't like that. We're watching our parents fight. We don't want you to fight. We want you to be together and help us get these things solved and get this money and
bigger issues possibly that has to do with the citizens and the way the citizens actually feel about the city, what we're doing, not doing, are we doing anything? As commissioners, that's our job. We're the ones who get the phone calls. We're the ones who, the people call and say, what are we gonna do with this road? What are we gonna do with this pond? Unfortunately, and what I have said, obviously, is that we, as commissioners, need to just sit down and have workshops. We can't just go and to the coffee house on the street and sit there. It'd be great if we had that type of government. We don't. And we're also not the only city that has this type of government. We have laws that we have to follow. It is disheartening sometimes because I get where y'all are coming from. It's like, I did want to say this. With the communication part, I heard in some of the comments, it's that, it sounds like maybe you guys think that a commissioner or all commissioners, they're not defending your hard work. Roger talked about Debbie. I sent a letter in on air and to be dropped in her file for the fantastic job she does. She does multiple jobs and she does them perfectly and in a timely manner. It can't get much better than that. Probably ought to be, an employee of the year at some time. Always working. So, I don't know if we're sitting here talking about communicating from the employees to defend Jim. Are you sitting here wanting to talk about how can staff communicate against or with each other? Are you wanting to talk about how can staff communicate clearly and define your needs to the commission? I mean, just about every commissioner has been bashed, I've been challenged, that's public records, challenged, put out there. I'm not going to get into any arguments tonight. I just want to clearly understand what's on the agenda. Are we going to talk about how we're going to communicate? Ricky, you brought up on me anytime. I have called you. I gave my explanation on why I vote no on certain items. And those items, and I'm not gonna talk to you about what I vote no on, but in a commission meeting, it might be an item that I just wanna know what happened. $27,000 or $100,000. Or why are we buying so many nails in this city? Maybe nothing major, but I want to be clear on it before I put my vote out there. However, as I have stated, I'm not going to vote yes if I can't figure out if we're moving dollars from one line item to another line item. And as an example, and this is in no way to try to slam anybody. Things happen, a lot of work going on, a lot of paper shuffling. Last commissioners meeting, the variance report I had, we were 2.1% below budget. That's great, but I had the wrong report. The report that I should have had was 0.6 under budget. And I'm not, it just was a mix-up. I didn't know it at the time, so I was just trying to figure out, okay, and then I knew that I had 0.6. So, there should be, in my opinion, if there is a problem like that, is that people challenge told you to call me, and I tell them I have nothing to hide. So I guess just to wrap my part of it up, what are we looking at talking about in communication? Is it about the citizens out there, bashing small groups of people, bashing? Is it the employees, is it the commission? I need clarity, and I need facts. That's the only way that I would possibly understand what it is that we're talking about. So if we have to dig deep there, and it has to get, maybe, hopefully not nasty, that we can be adults, that I would prefer it that way. So, in my mind, if we've got communication problems, then maybe we should outline, okay, then do you have a problem, or have a question for Ricky, or for Joey, or for Roxanne? Roxanne and I have worked well together. Very nice emails back and forth, thank you very much, appreciate it. No problems that I'm aware of, but that's the way it should be. But if we have a communication problem, we need to outline, this is the problem, how do you want us to handle it? Do you want me to call you, or do you want me to send an email to the CA? Or do you want me to contact Roxanne? That's my way of saying, now we've got a plan that's going to work.
Mayor, let me use one example of communication to show where there is a problem. And the problem is we get, just in putting this meeting together, we had to call you all and coordinate time and what have you. Once the meeting was confirmed, Roxanne sends out a meeting invite. It's accepted. We get an email the next day from Lynn accusing us of not communicating with her about the meeting process. We're looking at each other. What are you talking about? We're on the phone with you when we were doing that. You accepted the meeting, and then you're blasting us because Heather posted it in the evening on Facebook. So I can't help it if she doesn't understand her emails, or she doesn't know what it means to click on a meeting and accept an invitation. So just using this meeting as an example is that where we were accused of not communicating on something we were working together collaboratively to build this meeting. You all got it because I answered her on that reply and sent it out to you all to show you the kind of things that happens to us on a regular basis. It's the accusation and the innuendo that somehow we're doing something wrong. You're looking for an aha, I got you moment. And I'll give another example. Okay, I got a call about Savvy Citizen. Lynn was saying she wasn't getting reports and no information. How long have we had Savvy Citizen? Since about October?
Yeah, it's like about 6 months.
So I call up and I find out the reason she wasn't because she never completed the registration. What are we supposed to do about that? We're getting accusations that she's not being communicated to. That's the problem, is that everything is an accusation. There is no communication. There is no question. And after Monday night, there is no relationship between her and I. There is no professionalism. I will work for the 4 of you duly elected individuals, and we'll make this work.
Well, now I guess I can speak. I'll have to echo the things that most of the employees have said about this is probably the best team that this city has built. I had to really think about tense moments during the recount, especially after I gained 2 votes. But alas, I could not pull off a win. I used to dig being commissioner, but after November 20th, I'll have to say I dug being commissioner. Be advised, just because I'm no longer an elected official on the city commission, it does not mean that I will stop my work for the color. Near and dear to my heart are 3 projects. One of them is 14 landscape, I-4 landscape project. After they built my I-4, they didn't put us any trees in, so Cookie made sure that we got trees put in. The second one was a senior citizen village. I think you were talking about the villas, the senior citizen village. And the last but not least is the stormwater recovery project. He wrote this in 2008. Stormwater has not been something that has not been on their agenda. It has been one of those things that have come and gone. When we had a drought and the lake was drying up, nobody was talking about stormwater. We had a very significant, I'll say, once in a lifetime stormwater flooding. It's a issue. I'm gonna finish reading. I love Lake Helen, and I plan to continue my activities for her betterment. My hope is that we can move onward and upward and put all the bickering and diversiveness behind us. This is Cookie 2008. Lake Helen citizens should unite to further our common goals and interests. There's so much good that can come from a united front. Many thanks to all of my loyal supporters. I've enjoyed every moment, almost, of my time serving the citizens of our fair cities. Congratulations are in order for our new city commissioner, Vernon Burton. He is a good man, and I'm sure he will watch after your best interests. So we meet again.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was somebody that was, thank you, please. That was something that instilled in me that the city is bigger than one person. The majority of what we get out of the city is what we put in. If we put little in, we get little in return. The idea that we have been able to, and because I know that a lot, I've worked with every single city administrator that the city's ever had. The good, the bad, the unmentionable. Don Findell was in that position that he cut the mold, was cut around Don Findell. And he was given something that did not have any structure to it, but he was told what he needed to do, what he should do, and he had to do it within the confines of a city administrator and not a city manager. And I had to learn what a manager was as opposed to a city manager. This form of government that we have, because the city did not want a manager and it did not pass on a ballot amendment, but what we were able to come out of that was because we were given what was amounts to an unfunded mandate by the state that we had to increase and improve our governance, because it was kind of a good old boy, shake your head, make a handshake, and it all works out. But we were getting a little further away from that, so they wanted somebody that knew the ins and outs of the business part of it. So that's where we got Don. Don did not get hired as a city manager because of the ballot amendment failed, but he came up with the idea that we would have a city administrator. And the understanding of having a city administrator is that the city administrator serves at the pleasure of the commission. Not just one person. He doesn't have to respond to just one person. He responds to the commission, and he has to respond to the commission in a plurality of either 3 votes. If it's a motion and a second, and a vote that passes, that's his direction. Even if we have meetings where we don't have motions and seconds, that we can agree on a consensus. And it's been my experience that each time the city agrees, the commission agrees on a workshop, special meeting in principle, then it's up to the city clerk to call each one of us and schedule what is going to work for all of us. If there was a city workshop that was supposed to have been had as a result of the meeting, then that call will be coming. You'll be getting that call, and I can't come on this day, I can't come on that day. Mr. Rutledge, I have to come after work. So we have to manage those, not our expectations, but manage how we get there. So there's no, in my mind, and we have had on a number of occasions, we should have a workshop. Should have a workshop. Was there a motion? Was there a second? That is how we move. If having not had a motion, and we just kind of had a discussion about it, a lot of things that go under discussion don't necessarily get voted on. But it's been my experience that we've been able to manage the budgets, meetings, and the thing about the budget meetings is because they have to be met and done in a certain period of time so that we can get our budget in, so that we will be timely, so that at a certain point, and this is dictated by the county. So and not only is it dictated by the county, but it's dictated by the date, the amount, and the way that it's worded. That's what our city administrator is for. I couldn't do that. Our clerk doesn't do that. But to be able to have a city administrator that has the background and experience that I have witnessed, and as I said, I work with the good, the bad, the unmentionable. Jim has brought to this city more balance than I've seen in most of our city administrators. And the one thing I say about the city administrator, he is always the target of the ire of the commission. Because every year we have an election. And every year somebody's either jockeying for a position. And what better punching bag could we use is the city administrator. They did it with Don Tandela. They did it with Jason Yarborough. I made sure I did it with KC. We did it with I didn't hire Lee, but they called a motion to dismiss him in the middle of what I thought at the time, sitting in the audience, could have been done, it could have been more timely. Why would you fire your city administrator in September? And he's got 20 weeks either sit on his boat, and collect the check. Whatever you can say about Lee, whatever was said about Lee, I didn't get to witness it until I got to work with him. Lee decided that he would not just leave while we were in the process of finding his replacement. But when it came time to, the city decided to hire Colin to find us our replacement, I think it was $35,000 we had to pay him to do that. And when he gave us the November I became sworn in, by January he was telling us, by December rather, he said, I won't be able to get anybody to see you before January. So Lee's termination was December 12th. So who's going to pick up? Ricky has babysitted the city administrator's position when Becky was here, but she basically made his lunch and put it in her microwave for him, and all he had to do was work in it. So that wasn't going to be, I'm sorry, there wasn't going to be the case here. We had to have somebody who's going to be in the job. So what Lee did is that I would stay on until he find my replacement. Not only was he going to stay on until he found his replacement, but he overlapped a week, 2 that there's something about this city that made this man have the quality to say, okay, whatever you say about me, I'm professional enough to say, I will not leave this city high and dry. And he did. So those are things that you put a check mark on as that we dodged that bullet. When we came to hire Jim, it was unanimous. There was no dissension. We knew all about his background. We knew all about the things that he was bringing to the table. But in talking to him and meeting with him, we all changed our opinion because we did have a first choice, was a guy who was an attorney. And everybody loved the idea that we can have an attorney, but maybe we wouldn't have to pay Scott as much because we could have it sitting as a city administrator. Only to find out, well, I will only be available in the next maybe 90 days or so, or 60 days, or whatever it was. No, we're terminating our city administrator. We want him gone. So you're not on that list. So we came back to Jim, and Jim, we got hired. Now why is this even becoming an issue? Because I have seen our city through, now I can say, the worst natural disaster that the city's ever had. I can also say that I saw the city through in 2008 when the bottom fell out of the economy. One of the first things that I had to vote on as a motion was to give the city commission a reduction in our pay so that we can meet the moment. A lot of things that got put on the shelf, a lot of things got kicked down the road. But we have things that happen daily. And not only are things happening daily, the benefit that I like in working with Jim is that he has a projection of the future. He's not looking at our calendar for today, but not only is he looking at what needs to be done in a timely fashion so it can get done. Whoever he needs to get on the point, we have the open door that we have to Jim. I say we have because no one spends as much time, no commissioner spends as much time in City Hall as me. And the only reason I started spending as much time as I did when I first got elected, because I didn't know who this guy was. I want to make sure that my city is not going to have a fly-by-night flip-flop coming through here. So every day, I came in here. I spoke to Jim. I sized him up. I saw what kind of man he was. I saw what he brought to the table. So more and more, I was able to step away. I transitioned now to the point that I generally don't get into City Hall. Sometimes I don't get in there. I don't get into 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Because as I told Roxanne, when I first worked with Jim, not first to work, I said, I like the way he moves, and I trust him. One of the reasons that I came to that statement is because we had a congressman coming through the City Hall, and he had a bus that was being wrapped, and he was dropped off, the bus was being wrapped, and I get a call that when he found the bus, we got a congressman, there's a big bus in front of the City Hall, 30-foot bus. So I didn't hear anything about it. So, turns out, Commissioner Donata had made arrangements to get the city, a congressman to come through. He asked about me because I know him, and he was told that I wasn't invited. Neither was any other commissioners. So, I asked Jim, well, the people that were in the photograph, why were they here? Because Commissioner Donata wanted them to be in the picture. I said, were they on their lunch hour? He said, no. So I wrote him up. I didn't write him up. I wrote him a letter. I said, I want to know why these people were off their So it was my responsibility as mayor, as what any other commission should have done, to ask him, because he serves at the pleasure of the commission. So any one of us can ask him something. And as me being the mayor, I think I needed to know why I was not in the house when a congressman shows up. I called his office and apologized for my absence. I shouldn't have to have done that. But protocol. Politicians are really stuck on protocol. I can say that where we are right now, and I'm not gonna, I want to give us a balance that we are in different times now. The world is changing. As we sit here now, things that have happened years ago, they're not the case anymore. In the last 100 days, we've seen the whole world just turn upside down. We probably need more of coming together now than ever before. I've seen the city come together in storms. I've seen the city come together in budget shortfalls. I've seen the city come together when the lakes was disappearing. So I know we know how to do it. It's a no-brainer kind of thing. We all want the best for the city. And those of us that have kids, our kids, I think we want the best for our kids. They may not do all the things we want in the way that they're doing, but we're not going to abandon them. We're not going to just cut them short. So this has been a learning process the first year. I asked for the state of the city. And the state of the city, there's pages here, you know. There's 4 pages, I'm not going to read it. But what it did, it showed what the city commission has been doing for the last, at this time it was February, so the last 13 months. This is what we were able to accomplish. Now the unfortunate thing is that what may get reported is somebody snatching the gavel out of the mayor's hand. What might get reported is that somebody said this or that. But the good things that what we do is what I want us to be known for. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this, but we got a lot of work ahead of us. And we cannot work as a team, then we are going to find ourselves further and further separated. One of the reasons that I make sure that I have someone of cloth, no disrespect to Jim, that's his beliefs and I believe in them. But I always have someone from the cloth, some clergy, pastor. We don't have many pastors that live in our church, live in our city. But the ones that do, I will get to hear. I've got a relationship with each one of them. I want us to have the pastors to come together and have their own little group. Because each one of them has their own congregation. And anytime you start putting yourself above the whomever, you kind of get lost. So, I believe, and this isn't my conclusion, I'm going to shut my mouth. I believe that we have the resources at these tables to make this city the best, what we call ourselves the gem of Florida. I always spoke about Lake Helen as the best kept secret in Volusia County. Because wherever I went to go to meetings or whatnot, everybody asked me, where's Lake Helen? I had to get away. You get on I-4, you're coming from Daytona, get the second exit. Because they ain't no Lake Helen. So my job as an ambassador to the city is to put a good face on it. I don't want to see the Beacon be on the headlines that we are disrupted. No. But I want us to earn the right to be celebrated. I don't want anybody to give us a free pass. If we've done something that we need to be addressed, I want us to be called out. Any one of us, there's nobody here that even walks on water. So any one of us that does not have Ricky stabbed, they were walking water. Brandon, your guys will take a bullet for you. I can tell you that's a serious statement coming from a former law enforcement officer. You got a commander that you take a bullet for, you can consider that a good dude. So if in this diatribe of mine that there's somebody whose feelings are hurt, I'm not apologizing because I'm speaking from my heart. I have to walk circumspectly in things that I do because I am the man. Every little thing I do winds up on Facebook. And most of the things that I find on Facebook, I didn't know where these people got this stuff from. But it doesn't matter. So, you have more to say. Okay, good. Then I'll close out with this by saying that, we can do this. This is not as hard as the things we've done. We've overcome worse. This should be less than a speed bump. Less than a speed bump. We should be all downhill from here. So, at that remark, I will conclude it. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up what I had to say because I don't want this
See, your perception is you're perfect. You and your little cronies. Listen, no, listen to what you're getting from your little cronies. That's what you view as the commission or the citizens. So as long as we answer those few citizens, as long as we answer those few citizens, we're okay. If we don't listen to those citizens, then there's a problem for you.
I think where we are, we've had a talk around the room and around the table, and at the point of where we are now, it is apparent that most of us feel one way, or you feel another way. And you're entitled to do that, and I would defend and protect you to say that, because you don't have to agree with anybody. You don't have to agree with something just to go along with it. That's not your style, and I would not ask for it. But by the same token, we are here to do a job, and if the three of us, or three of us can agree, we may not necessarily be on the same page all the time, but depending on what the issue is, I think the issue motivates us to either get on the right or their side of something. The issue can also say, I don't want to be a part of that. And that is that's our issue as well. The one thing that we had to do, because there was an issue that the order that came down from Tallahassee that said that there can be no sleeping in public parks. The order was basically given to us by the state. We had to read it, we had to motion, and had to vote on it. I voted no. And the reason I voted no was because I could not see, we have 42,000 veterans that would be affected by that. Now, does my no vote upset the whole apple cart? No. So I will stand on the point that I don't have to agree with all of you, and you don't have to agree with all of us.
Yeah, I was elected and ran, and it's been said that I ran unopposed. That's not quite true. You know that.
Well, I know that I know that there was nobody on the ballot but you, and no one.
Commissioner Masso.
Yeah, that might be a misnomer that we might get cleared up today until, I ran against, Kelly and Cameron. Cameron withdrew. Now, that wasn't what Rick did. He didn't put the paperwork in, so nothing to withdraw.
Okay.
So you really ran unopposed.
Okay.
And I can say for myself, I've had several unopposed races, and they're good.
Yeah.
It feels good. To get out here and meet
Heather
so,
has, Roger
right.
has.
So enjoy that moment. Enjoy that in the moment.
But I'm just not feeling real comfortable with the tone that I've spoken with. Like, we are the commission, we are the policy makers. The citizens, we certainly have to listen to them. But when it comes to staff, can they just pick out someone and start making accusations, be it true or not? I don't know.
I would not put
I
that.
think that certainly is showing unprofessionalism in the
I would not randomly throw that out at staff because they are professional enough not to have that.
Well, then let's say the CA, he's the one.
Well,
in charge.
I will say that the one thing is the relationship that the CA and I have, I will say that is a good relationship. But that having been said, I don't expect him to give me one piece of information that he should. I don't want him to tell me what you did. I don't want him to tell me how Roger votes. That's a professional. So I deal with him on a one-to-one. And if in that one-to-one there's something happening that I don't get, that's what I like about the fact that he is a professional. It don't necessarily have to be that he doesn't like you or he doesn't like me. What he gives to me, I respect.
Can I
Like
say
you said.
something?
Yes, please.
I just have one other question. So does this mean that basically I'm going to be a lame duck?
No, not at all. Not at all. But what a lame duck is that if you are not going to run way you don't have to explain why you never have to explain why you vote. And it's not my responsibility as the mayor when it comes down to 2-2 vote, that I make the right side or the left side, the one that I, so
But
you
you understand I was challenged on why did I vote the way that I voted, and there's a lot of stuff on social media that we
I
perceive
can't
as.
bring the social
I know,
media
but I'm just
into.
telling you, these are things that said, and since I'm transparent about it, just like I am Commissioner Donato, I have no problems coming forth with that.
I'm glad
You know, so, and I do have reasons,
the
not
only,
everybody knows about.
the only reason I hear about what, say, I'll say about my friend Nancy, the only thing I really hear about what things that Nancy says to me about me is what stuff people send me. I wouldn't have known otherwise. So, and I don't read that, and I don't put any store in it, because it's her right to say what she says. When you're in this position as being a commissioner or mayor, there's a lot of eyes on you. You have to walk a certain walk that is different. You have to walk a certain walk that keeps you above the fray. Because you can get down in the mud in a minute, and then that, all of us in the mud, it doesn't help us.
Or you can be kicked in the mud.
Well, I wanna let Charlene say what she's gonna say.
Okay, now another point has come up. But anybody, what I want to say is anybody that was in attendance and saw what happened Monday night surely will understand his position tonight. I'm surprised he's here, actually. Because I don't think I would put my keys down and went home. Now, the other thing, okay, I wasn't even gonna bring this up, but the voting no. Now I have to bring up, because you say that nobody knows why you're voting no, but you actually said Monday night that you're voting no because the city's gonna be investigated.
That came out Monday night.
So what I wanna know is, I wanna know what your goal in having the city investigated, which I'm assuming you initiated this, is what is the end goal? Do you wanna have people fired? Do you want people to go to jail? Do you want us to lose our charter? I don't understand what the end goal for having an investigation into the city is.
Showing we've got to run it as a business, we've got to follow the charter, we can lose the charter. There's citizens out there that are in an uprising.
Well, what do you see
And we
being
can't
investigated? What,
Well, I really can't go into anything like that right now. It's just that if we straighten ourselves up and do what we're supposed to do and go even back in time and correct things, we should be perfectly okay.
but then,
But I have no support, no one was talking.
by the same token, you say you're gonna vote no, and the rest of us are gonna be involved in this investigation for voting yes, so you initiated an investigation, and you're hanging the rest of us out here to dry, because you're the only one that knows what's going on. So how does that even make you a part of the commission anyways?
I think, if you look at the information that we get in the packets, you can figure it out.
Mayor, on a point basis,
Shut up. I'm sorry, right here on my side.
That's okay, I'm gonna interrupt them talk.
I don't want to say, and I see on a employee basis. If, some people don't like this, but you guys fought like cats and dogs, we didn't like it. We come in, we have to come to work, we have to show up to work. You guys can take a day off unless it's a meeting, but we have to be here. We have to take what happens at this meeting to the citizens and everybody else, and we gotta take it from them. We gotta follow rules. If somebody doesn't follow rules, if Jim doesn't follow rules, he gets in trouble. Now, Linda, no disrespect, but you talk about that you've been in HR for so many years. What HR person in the world would show a video that you showed to Jim and make sure it's okay, and then question inside of a meeting in front of the city and say, I don't know why he acts that way? That's not right. It's not
I'm
right.
showing a pattern, and I have 45 years
Yes.
of experience.
No,
There's
but
a
you-
pattern here.
Wrong.
This is where it started. I can go back to 2004, but there's this pattern of where Jim seems to get excited, angry. He
gone to the past, and everybody wants to be in the past. And people has tonight, and the commission has stated that from tonight needs to be forward from today. What I'm asking you, as a person that's supposedly in HR, I'm part of the city, part of this commission, but if you wanna go move forward, then you gotta go to the bypass and the bypass, and Jim's gonna do the same thing when you ask that of Jim, and you gotta work forward with the city and everybody else going forward from tonight. Not showing videos, not pointing fingers at, after tonight, what his past, or what the past was, should be gone, because you hired him with that past.
Yeah, but, well, there's other things that you're not aware of that I can't disclose right now, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I heard you the other night, and I.
I still have a right to speak up here, but I'm just, you showed a video, a cut and splice and chop up video with that.
No, I'm sorry.
You also made a comment that if staff didn't like what you had to say, they could leave. You also said that I support public works. I did support the police department. And you're wondering why we're having this meeting? You said, people, I don't understand why we're having this meeting. That's why we're having this meeting.
So it's
Every
not
time
about
this meeting,
you.
you are the commissioner for the city of Lake County. Do you really believe that the things that you are doing are benefiting the city and this staff? It's staring down. No, I said it just like I said at the commission meeting. It's a cancer. It's a cancer. And certain people allow it to grow. Doesn't get cured, it kills. And that's what's being done. Now, that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Roger, go ahead. Roger was ready.
One of the best, when I got elected, one of the best pieces of advice that I received was from Kelly Fresco. And she said, if you get a chance, take the League of Cities classes. At the time, they had, EMO 1, EMO 2, then they had Leadership 1, Leadership 2. The Leadership 1, Leadership 2 were done away with because they were being revamped, but they came out with new ones. I've been through all 4.5 classes now. And a lot of them you sit in there and you learn, the second one, we actually divided up into different positions, and we were given a scenario of being a city with this issue and stuff like that, and we all acted as the commissioners and stuff like that, and resolving the issues. It was interesting finding out and talking with all the other various cities from around Florida, on what problems they were having. Their problems aren't that much different than what Lake Helen's been going through in the past. And they've had issues with, like what we're going through now. And it was disappointing at this past legislative session when I didn't see the final, because they're getting ready to do all the final stuff now with the governor signing and everything, but White Springs was being disbanded on 2 issues. One of them was a promise that was made during a voting thing. On the last day, they had to turn in their paperwork by noon. The person brought in their paperwork, and they said, you're missing this. And they said, well, can I bring it back to you? And they said, well, we're going to lunch. You can bring it back after lunch. So he went and got the paperwork done, brought it back after lunch. Somebody else was in there and says, you're late, you can't take it. That was one of the big issues that the senator says that the city violated, was that because they were given that extra time, they should have allowed it, but they didn't communicate with each other. Now, there is an issue with the town. There are about 600 people. Majority of the people on the council are related to each other, whether cousins, first cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever. And it's in an area that has a severe, I guess you call it 1960s issue. I mean, they still get threats from KKK in the city and stuff like that, so it's that's pretty bad. But the other big issue that the Senate looked at was that they were 3 years behind on their finance report. always something that's confusing. And even the Senate will look at that and say the same thing. But going back to the classes, I've always recommended that the commissioners take the classes. They've added a new one now, it's orientation of newly elected officials, and it's an online class. But the last class we went to, we talked to, one of the issues that we talked about was truth. And at one time, there was 36 people in here, I don't know how many's in here now, but that's how many different types of truth are in this room right now. Because everybody has their own truth that they believe in. But everybody agreed that the worst truth that you shouldn't listen to is what's on Facebook or social media. Because those truths are hidden behind synonyms and stuff like that that people don't want them to know who's really doing the thing. So, we can come together and work together. Yeah, Vernon and I get into it every once in a while, but two different leadership styles. And it's the way I perceive things, the way he perceives things, and it's the way it goes. I mean, there's 7 different types of leadership styles. We have 2 different types right here. And it's just the way the world functions. And it's something that we have to deal with. So I know it comes out in public, but this is the only time that we're allowed to talk to each other. And we're not allowed to talk to each other otherwise we would have done resolve these issues years ago. It's the way that we have to deal with it. But we can work together. I still believe Lake Helen needs to be brought more into the modern world on technology and everything, because they've got so much coming out there now. It used to be that you had to replace your computer every 2 years, and it became every 1 year, and that was 6 months. Now it's almost daily that they're coming in to do stuff. So, I know we got a bunch of citizens here who want to talk on different things, so I'm going to shut up now. And I'm a little disappointed. Now, I can understand why Erin didn't get up and talk. She has the most unappreciated job being there as a receptionist and having to listen to every gripe and complaint and everything that comes in. If she were to say this, she'd probably be up there for an hour talking about issues and stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Mayor, do you mind if I say?
I don't know.
Thank you. So I sat and listened to everything, and I wanted to reflect on some of the things I wrote down while people were talking. And, before I had some opening comments, now I want to address city staff and commission communication. One of the things that I'm hearing is that there is communication issues between, commissioner and, city administrator. One of the things that I heard that didn't quite make sense to me was that we're not on the same team.
perception of how it looked. Not that we understand the frustration, staff and us, we're working on it as much as we can. We just, even if we had a project ready today, ma'am, sir, whatever, we don't have the money, let's write and complete the project. At this point in time, we're working on it. That's the perception. I'm just saying, it just comes off a little rough. And it kind of makes us, it made me feel like, what the hell, I was nothing, I didn't do nothing.
Throwing
You
this
know,
up.
yeah, throw it under the bus if you really want to get down. But I don't,
Are we talking about when the engineer was here and I was?
yeah, it's stormwater, yeah, it just kind of hit me wrong because I'm like, we're doing, we are trying our best to get you guys completely taken care of and reimbursed for our city and everything on everything, including what we've done, millings, the plates, and then people come in and say, well, you're not doing, well, if I remove that plate over there, and we just go ahead and do something quickly, we lose any way we're gonna get any money from FEMA. I'm sorry you're hitting the plate, but there's a bigger picture here. I'm sorry that Pennsylvania's halfway collapsed. We don't have, we honestly, you as a city commission and us as citizens don't have the money to even fix that. It was bankruptcy. The building was stopped, everything. So, that's what gets me frustrated because I don't see it, maybe I took it the wrong way, but it just hit me wrong because we are doing everything. Let them know that we are doing it. It kind of felt like it went up to the engineers and everybody else that I was sitting out there. I would say, well, the engineers not doing their job. They're doing more than any other engineer we ever had. At least they're not taking and see we have a checkbook and how to write a check and leave. These people are unbelievable. I mean, we're on these constantly with them almost weekly on where they're going to try to get money. We don't know where they're going. We know some of the things they're doing. I met last week, no, 2 weeks ago, with what had been current on their water side. We took a tour of the plants and all the stuff and my frustration with being not having enough water for fire, all that stuff there. The antiquated, some of the electrical panels, different ways to run everything. And they're sitting there, they're not sitting there going, well, we can engineer that. They're going, what can we do? Hey, I think we can get money from here if we do this. Hey, let's try to get money from here. Let's go back to them. My goodness, it is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It truly is.
Well, it's really funny because you don't know what you don't know. Ryan and I have a really good relationship. The questioning that night to Ryan was so that the citizens could understand a timeline of where we were going to be. They weren't happy with it, there's people that's not happy with roads, but I was giving Ryan that opportunity to say, it could be 8 months, okay? But he and I get along. I didn't even bring you into that equation.
It wasn't that, it wasn't even you, it was the whole perception. It's not you, it was not designed to you at all. It's the whole perception of how it went down. Some of the citizens take a look at like, we're not doing anything. The staff is like holding it up, how come we're not getting a permit, how come we're not getting pumps? We're working right now on getting pricing for pumping down there, but I know the reality of it. The reality of what you can and can't do right now. And unfortunately, we can't do all that.
There were questions being asked, especially Monday night while staff wasn't doing more. So, and yes, you're right.
And we have a company coming out now to figure out pumping all the way down there, from there, all Lake Cloud and all that. I know what we have to do. I just don't know how to get there, but we're working through it, and these people are helping us. We can't be in such a better place than we are right now, especially with those projects, water, stormwater, all that. We are in such a good place right now compared to what we were. I worked here since 1996. Marshall Provost, ECP, Pond, you name them, I worked with them. You know what, I would first come here, and Ann Rob will tell you, she's asking, you know how much we have in our checkbook? That's what it costs engineering. And they say, all right, money. That's the honest truth, I've been here. And that's what I've seen.
I'm sorry and I apologize to you, but I think that I've shown you time and time
And
again.
we talk all the time, I have nothing against that.
Even when it came up to the milling rate, because you needed that money, I had to pay
Absolutely.
it. So I've always been there. I'm sorry that the perception
capture the things that you're doing, because our budget is here, and you're creating a situation where you are saving us money. So this is our budget, you have saved us more over and above, but don't get credit for it. And that was years ago, and that was only because I saw what it was doing on a one-to-one basis. Right now, I think we are getting the benefit of being able to have the kind of person that Ricky has this, I don't care what craft you have, if you talk to Ricky long enough, he's going to convince you that this is the best thing that you can do, and you can get more out of him, or you can get more out of them because of Ricky. We get more out of other people because of one man. Now, how do we monetize that? We really can. We can show some appreciation. We can show some respect. I don't think he's looking for anything more than respect and appreciation. And that is to the advantage of the city. Everything that happens, the chief, Rick, staff in the city hall, you guys are carrying a load that the rest of the city has no clue. They will point you out for what you did do. I remember phone was ringing. They get a phone call. Well, our staff has people in front of them, they're on another line, so phone might have to get answered. But if there's no message left, I can't get back to you. But you can say I called and nobody picked up. And that's just the small stuff. And that's what I'm hearing, just me being up there and seeing the work that they do with Roger, starting with what the compliment that Debbie got, that you got the call about. This happens every day. Anybody that I send to Debbie, I send to Debbie, that can you give me can a guy put a fence up here? Can a guy do this? And she has the best, I'll say, woosah, because she's talking about it. She doesn't get belligerent, and I think that goes a long way. We cannot get enough of what our workers are giving the city. They are giving us more than what we're paying.
I want to thank you for that, because this is about communication. And our door is always open. If you have questions and you need an answer, ask us. You know, if citizens have questions, come ask us. Don't plaster it on Facebook with your own remarks of what you think it is. Come and ask us. We'll tell you. We're open door policy, and that's what we're supposed to do. Public records request. Whatever it is that goes in our office, we will share with you. But you have to ask. If you don't come and ask, we can't help you. I've seen things on Facebook from faces I don't even know. You know? Papa's Pizza, that was one of them. It's such a trivial thing about how staff is holding up permits. You want to know the truth? Come ask us. Really. And you guys, anytime you have questions, you need information, please come and ask us. We'll be happy to help you. I love Roger, like you said, we had our test, you know? So that's just.
Okay, the difference is, so this city is lucky not just have workers, we have employees with passion and love for the city.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, that makes all these people great.
You can't buy that kind of passion. You can't put a dollar sign on it.
We're a very strong team.
And that is what's unique in this city, is that there are people who come to work for a paycheck and leave when it's time to go home. Not this city. I'm talking about we just hired a guy. The guy was working from
City of Atlanta.
his land. He's making more money. He never get a chance to see his family. So he'd rather take a pay cut to come here to work. That kind of, we haven't quantified it as loyalty yet, but the character, he's former military, is he vet?
I don't know.
You know?
You know.
Is that, I know there's one guy you talked to, and that's a military veteran right there.
Willis,
Okay. Yeah.
and Carl.
So we got the best things going. We just, it's like we according to each of the property owners has on their property list all of the taxing authorities. No matter how much property you have, you got 1 lot or 100 lots.
It says fire and storm and flood.
Yes,
That
Roger,
we pay.
Roger, help me out.
It doesn't come to Lake Helen? Yes.
Let him answer.
One of the issues, the way I understand it under stormwater, because the, Woods of Lake Helen has pretty much the same complaint. Because you live inside the city of Lake Helen, you use more roads than what's inside the villas. And for us to be able to keep those roads accessible, that's what
Well,
The
Wood
fee-
Road
the
goes
fees
places
go
because
for-
it's underwater.
And, well, because it's, to repair it is gonna cost more than what we're collecting. And so that's why we're trying to get things from Woodward and Corn and, FEMA and everything to cover some of the
Okay,
costs.
don't worry about the
But
stormwater.
that's why they get charged with stormwaters, because they're inside the city and the stormwater affects everybody. As a matter of fact, because our water table affects the lakes inside the village too. But because it's private property, they have to handle those issues themselves.
And the other thing is that the property owner gets a bill from school board. If you're in 55 and over community, you don't have kids in school.
No, we're not.
But they send the bill to the landlord, and if he has to separate it, share it, that's.
But I just know we won't get anything there, but we had a woman from MMO at our last HOA meeting, who told us that Volusia County is in charge of flood and storm, not the city, they can't do nothing about it. Why aren't we putting the ball in their court and making Volusia County help or work with us on the storm and flood? If they're in charge of the St. John's Water Management, why are they in this game too?
They're not in charge of St. John's Water Management. The Florida DEP has divided up the state into different water management districts. And we just happen to be inside the St. John's Water Management there, which covers more than just Volusia County.
And everything.
And Volusia County has their public works that's dealing with flooding issues, and they give occasionally times, that's where that, Project 360 or whatever it's called, funds came from that we were able to get some funds for to do some evaluation on our stormwater. It came through the county, because the county was able to get some money from the state. So, yeah, we do work with the county works with us on handling issues. And they do have, if during after a massive storm, if they have any spare pumps available, and we ask for them, they will let us use some of their pumps to pump some of the stormwater
And
stuff.
they had their.
The problem this last time was, they ran out of pumps too. They couldn't keep up with it. So it made, everybody was affected.
Alright, and the other issue I had was the permits. I requested recently the permit for the clubhouse roof at the villas. Because I thought you had to update the building, like the handicap bathroom wasn't put in where the roof was done. Well, right now, people are getting zapped around the pool. They did, work with the pavers around the pool, they put up lighting. 2 incidences, I know when people went into the pool, the lights come on, and they're getting out of the pool getting zapped. They can't get out of the enclosure without getting zapped. I thought they would have pacemaker, because they wouldn't be here today if they did. But I look at the permit board, I open the thing, it's empty. Every building that's going in there in 2020, I complain, no permits, or it's done.
So this
They're
is-
all empty. You can't see if there's a licensed electrician there, that there.
that's permitted for. Yeah.
The problem with your electric furnace, you probably got a short in the motor somewhere in the pool pump. You need an electrician to go through it and find where the short's at. Or else you got a missing ground, and it's grounding through the pool.
But if an licensed electrician inspected it, if there was a permit, they know that it shouldn't be open. But we just turned off the lights, because if you went to the meeting on Monday, there was no lights, because I tripped over the last thing going around the car, and I thought the car was there,
who's ever doing the work,
Yeah, they're
whoever
not listed.
doing
Yeah.
it's problem.
I have requested it, haven't found it, but when they're told to put a permit up, they just put a board up and there's nothing there. Nobody can check it, nobody can go look, nobody can see what's going on.
That's your landlord?
Well, I think, can they,
This is
if
what
they
I-
need them, can they get copies of the permits from you to repost?
Just email me for copies. I sent her a copy for the, burglar.
The steps.
And she asked about the roof. I asked her, please let me know when it was done, if she got any idea, because
I didn't
if you
get
pull
that.
up, I can forward it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
When you pull up the villas, it has every trailer in there that has ever had any work. And there's no classification, there's no addresses, it's all under one. So there might be, how many units is there, 209?
Is there a website?
There might be a hundred permits on it for roof. So I asked in the email, I replied to you, asking if you can give me a date, I can start looking for something for it.
Okay, I just have pictures of like when it was the way, and like a couple months later when it wasn't the same way, you know, like the roofs changed.
What,
It was like a time frame is all I got to go by.
one of the things that might, I'm just giving Debbie some work, when you come into City Hall, she has it on her computer, and she can see everything that was done.
Yeah, I'm going in.
And if you were there with her, if you were there, have you come in and spoke with her yet?
She's always had an office, the one I talked to says, well, she'll be back.
Oh,
And
she
I'm like,
went-
"Oh, we don't know when."
Yes,
So I really haven't run into her.
all right, thank you.
All right.
All right, what was that? You're right, you're right. Todd Preston, Commissioner, he has a slip. What the discussion about, let's start with that. Yes, Ann, are you still here? Okay, you're after him. About the work, well, you talking about the work. Okay, all right, Todd.
Good evening. First, I want to say I support Jim Gleason and the entire city staff 100%. I agree with the people here who've spoken about the cohesiveness, about the teamwork here. I've been dealing with the city for over 30 years, and I completely agree with it, and I support that. Now, this is in reference to the commissioner that was the catalyst for this meeting, since I'm trying to follow the rules and address the commission, not any individual. In my opinion, this commissioner is an arrogant, condescending, self-serving, obstructionist public servant that entirely pushes the agenda of this small group of anti-establishment people that are at the core of the division in this town. And until this commissioner steps down, things will never improve here in the realm of unity and positive community engagement. To bolster my point, I will add that to my understanding, this commissioner has attended the League of Cities dinner at least 3 times, and all 3 times has sponsored the same guest, a guest that is the sole curator of the division in our city. And that particular guest isn't even in the commissioner's zone or district.
But in short, this meeting is not for that, I understand. Okay, so that we can stay within the guidelines of, everybody will stay on the same page. That may be something that you might want to bring up at another time.
What time would that be?
That would be a commission meeting, if you want to put in a request, that you have it on an agenda item. This workshop, this is the restraints that we have with the workshop, because we can't do everything. So we want to be able to do something that we can without putting anything off the table.
Okay, very good. I'll bring it up in another meeting.
Thank
I
you.
just want to close by saying, in my opinion, everyone in this room and within this city is lesser off by this commissioner's words and actions as a public servant and commissioner of this once great city.
Thank you so much. And,
Allison, 170 West Craig Avenue. I want to know what we're doing here. I thought this was a workshop to discuss the recommendation or the consideration that our city administrator might resign. We keep spending money to do headhunters, and you said it cost us $35,000 last time. What's it gonna cost us this time if this man leaves? opportunity to do the job. He's been here, what, how long, a year? For goodness sakes, what's going on?
This wasn't a meeting to dismiss him.
No, I know it's not to dismiss him, it's to support him, because we need to let him know, or to find out what is the problem that we can't resolve in this town to want people who do the job to stay.
Thank you. I think it was expressed here about their support and otherwise, but thank you. Nancy, communication,
Yes.
and then Alan Cook is bringing up the rear.
As usual.
I'd like to address the communication. I know several weeks ago, week or so ago, there was a post on Facebook how you think people don't support the staff. We support you. I have a great deal of respect for the staff. However, we have to address issues that come up. That was inappropriate. To allow that is inappropriate. You may not like me, and you may not agree with me, but I'm a citizen in this city. I pay my taxes. and I
Directed
vote.
toward the,
Thank you.
But you allow that. The things that have been allowed are wrong. He can be a great guy. He can be a wonderful man, and I know that all of you support him. But what about the bad part? What about the night that he attacked me out here in my car?
okay, well, this right now, this is not the place for that.
It is.
I
because
say it's, thank
you're
you,
both being
thank
blunt,
you,
right?
thank you, thank you. Part of not being able to keep our, meeting as cordial as we can, it is difficult, and I appreciate it. Al Cook, you the last one up?
You know, I've been down there years of bluffers and rumors and rumors and rumors. But there's one rumor that I have, Monday night, I caught something that I hadn't heard about. And I would like to ask the Commissioner if it's true. And that is, do you have a lawsuit against the town?
That is probably what we're not having a back and forth.
So I'm actually asking what's going on. I'm just asking, is she doing a lawsuit against the town? That's all I'm asking. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
That will be,
Mr. Mayor, could I address the commission after?
hold on.
Mr. Cook?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
You had, I'll take the commissioner's words that I couldn't hear. If you want.
Questions directed to the city commission will be referred to staff, which will be answered by staff within a reasonable period of time following the end of the meeting.
Thank you. That is the one good thing about having that there, is that if you, when you speak to the commission, if there's something that the commission needs to get back to you in a reasonable time, we will get that, not at this meeting, because that's an exchange. So we will take that on the advisement, that there's a concern and a question, that we will say the words from it.
Questions directed to the city commission will be referred to staff, which will be answered by staff within a reasonable period of time following the date of the meeting.
Okay, so the question is there a lawsuit against the city that will be referred to our city administrator, and then we will get back to that if that's the proper procedure.
He'll check with our attorney, he'll let you know.
He'll let you-
The lady's ready to answer it.
I know she-
Correct it and maybe the final.
No, Cookie, we can't go off the script, I'm sorry. We will get, you're gonna get the answer, but not at this meeting.
And Cookie, we did the same thing to Todd when we started realizing he was going on.
We cut him off.
We cut him off,
So now we have, Mr. Abshar,
Sean Hampshire, 235 East Ohio Avenue. I just have to say, I've lived here 33 years, my whole life. I've been involved in all the community involvement for the last 17 years. I have never seen so much dysfunction, chaos, and division in my entire 33 years here. You guys have got to leave and get it together, and soon. Please, for all of our sakes.
thank you, Sean. All right, is there any more comments? They're popping up here. Please.
I just want to say one thing. 271 West New York Avenue. You guys have been talking about team, and I'm going to read you a definition of what a team actually is. And a team is generally defined as a group of people who collaborate and coordinate their efforts to achieve a common goal. So when you guys are talking about being on the same team, maybe you should think about your team is everybody bringing their little bit of knowledge to the table so that you guys can all collaborate and do what's best for the city and the citizens. That's what a team is.
On that note, I think if there's nothing else to be said, I think we should fully adjourn and, I'm sorry.
One quick comment.
Yeah, what was that you were saying? We didn't do?
We didn't roles and responsibilities, point B.
Rules.
Or did I miss it?
Well, it's kind of all plus or
Yeah.
together. The only thing I could probably suggest is if staff wants to go through the employment rules and regulations, or whatever it's called, and see if there's any tweaking that needs to be done in them to make your life some better, and present it to us so we can review it. One area.
I'll add on that, it's just something that's changed to be on the next agenda. You won't have to vote on the budget report or the checklist again, because there's no reason to vote on it. We'll be giving it to you as an information item. If all voted, you voted 5, 0, no on the checklist, what are we gonna do? Go back and get our money from vendors? So you're voting on that list means nothing. You're voting on the budget report means nothing. So you won't have to vote on it anymore. They're given to you now as information items. If you have questions about them, bring them up. You won't need to vote on anything that has no ramifications, because there's nothing, your negative votes don't change anything on the report, so there's no reason to have worthless votes.
Thank you.
If anybody's interested, Aldi's on Howland Boulevard and Catalina is having a grand opening tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Say that again? What was that?
Aldi's.
Oh, I all right. More point. All right, to everybody, I really want to appreciate you all coming out and thank you for your input. And I hope that we will all take this as a learning curve. And thank you very much.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Come on, man. Yeah. When you gonna come see me, man?
I'm busy with this. Actually, I just got here, didn't I?
I saw you outside. That's when I ran home and put on some pants because I've been walking and I came right back. Yeah.
Doing good?
I'm good, man. I went by and saw your brother. Yeah. Yeah, I went by and saw him.
They just got ordered. They don't think it's part of the order. And that doctor studied it. They've been here for a long, long time. So see what they read on the pressure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went by. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't have to go by. So I walked out sick. What's going on? Yeah. That's the quickest meeting ever, man. What did they discuss?
Now, we wanted to have an investigation of the staff.
I want to see all this come up.
Well, that's what I told you. What color? I can get some.
And that's all we can say. Oh man, I walked in and you know it. I'm like, really?